Absolute Radio. Absolute Radio.
Welcome to Not the Weekend podcast. Frank Skinner is here. That's me. And Gareth is here.
Wednesday.
What?
Wednesday. That's the attempt at a jingle for Wednesday.
It's all right. We've got one here.
Go on. Wednesday morning.
See, we've already got one. And Laura Solon is with us today, not with here.
I'm with here today.
Oh, good. With hair today.
Yeah.
With hair.
Don't start that up.
No.
Laura Solon.
Yeah.
So, yes. So we're all assembled. Emily is still away.
In Mauritius.
She certainly is. Okay. I have to say, I was on the radio this morning. They were talking about the election, and somebody said, this was on 5 Live. Somebody said, historically, how important is this political moment? And I thought it's quite a difficult question, isn't it, to work out? You have to sort of weigh up the amount of historicalness
and travel forward in time as well, so you can look back with perspective on it. I
always think with these things, it's like after a football match and they say, how upset were you when that goal went in? And I always want to say, what, out of 100? Or it's very hard to grade it, isn't it? So I'd say historically, if one could measure historicity, I'd say 7 would have been my answer.
Is that out of 10?
Well, I'd let them guess the gauge if they're going to ask those kind of questions. That's how it would have gone with me at the beginning. I went to a wedding last weekend.
How historic was that wedding?
It was more hysterical than historical. I enjoyed it. I didn't make the ceremony. I wasn't... You know, nowadays...
You just went for the food.
Well, everyone who said... I would have loved to have gone to the ceremony, I'll be honest with you. But every wedding now is planned with a sort of a friendship league table in mind. So you get the 3 levels of love. So the people who are very close... they get to go to the ceremony itself. And I'd like to have been at the ceremony because the bride went down the aisle to the test match cricket theme. You know that was...
She had to walk quite quickly then.
I think she just...
Is she quite red and leathery? Does she have, like, a woven section around her middle?
Do you know her?
Did a man in white rub her against his crotch?
Well, not actually at the ceremony.
Later on.
But, yes, at the end when they normally say you may kiss the bride, said you may rob the bride up and down against your crotch.
And leave a mark.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I'd known that they're very dear friends of mine who I love a lot. But I realise now I'm in the second division of their friendship.
Because you weren't... Yeah. But it might have been because they're very small sometimes, places.
I realise that. But nevertheless...
You're not that big. You could have fitted in.
Yeah, uncomfortably. But anyway, I didn't feel bad about it. It's the way of the world now. There are some people... I mean, I went to the sit-down meal after the speeches. Some people weren't invited until the party in the evening. So, count your blessings.
Well, invited to them. I think the meal is like a higher thing than the service.
Yeah.
Well,
people might have traded you. People might have traded you their seat in the ceremony. And tagged out. Some people feel the ceremony is the bit that drags.
Yeah, but you don't want to be invited. I was once invited to a wedding in Nottingham, where I was invited to the ceremony, so I qualified as First Division, but not invited to the sit-down meal, but invited to the party. So we came out of the church, we went to a local chip shop. I sat on a wall with a flower in my lapel and a suit and ate fish and chips on a wall and then wandered around. We weren't even in the city centre. There was nothing to do. Wandered around until I was allowed to go into the party.
You had an interval to the wedding.
It's basically apartheid is what goes on at weddings nowadays. It's all so... You can come this, you can't come to that bit. What if I'd turned up at the ceremony? Would I have been turned away?
They have a list. They might have known.
Bouncers. When me and Laura were first married and lived in Cardiff.
When you were first married? How many times have you been married? Are you one of those people who renew your vows?
No, if you renew your vows, it seems like something bad has happened.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Let's start
Who
again.
are you trying to convince?
I think a marriage, whether they renew their vows, is a bit like when you switch a computer off and then switch it back on again. It's like rebooting.
Or regrouting your bathroom. You're just trying to...
You're basically saying, you're saying this marriage, as it's crashed.
Yeah.
We're going to have to switch it off and switch it back on again. It's not a good thing.
Anyway, in Cardiff, one of Laura's friends invited just Laura to their wedding.
Isn't that the name of a hairspray? Just Laura, not you.
Only Laura, not
Oh, that's unbelievable.
Could have been worse. She could have invited Laura +1.
me. Plus a different one.
Yeah.
Please.
Plus one. In
Not you,
brackets,
+1.
In brackets, not Gareth. God, I know that. There was this guy who was in a double act. This would be early maybe late 50s. I better not name them, but they were a comedy double act together, and let's call them, for the sake, let's call them Duke and Earl.
Duke and Earl.
Right. And I'm calling that because it was their names.
Oh, right.
And Duke, at the end of their they were a knockabout comedy act, popular, not massive, but, working well. And at the end of their act, Duke used to sing, in the old days, the comedians did with a song. He got a nice singing voice, Duke, so he would sing this rather sad song at the end. And he brought it out as a single, and it charted, and it was billed as Duke and Earl on the label because they worked together, and it was nice. So anyway, they were invited to do the Royal Command performances, as it was called then, which was a massive gig in those days, and apparently on the invite, this massive invite, because I did the Royal Variety performance once, and you get a big elaborate invite, beautifully done. And it said, Her Majesty the Queen requests the presence of Duke and Earl at the Royal Command performance at the London Palladium, blah, blah, blah. And then in beautiful copper plate handwriting it said, Earl need not attend.
What, an embossed gold leaf?
No, just in fountain pen.
Need not
attend.
Yeah.
Why mention him? Why mention him on the thing at all?
They got the numbers wrong, and they were looking at how many canapes they had, and they had to cut 30 people.
Well, it's a difficult thing to invite them if he doesn't do the song. Is he going to sit there like Julie Andrews at the O2 watching Simeon's Gift? No, I haven't got over it.
Maybe the Queen didn't want to, because neither of them were a Duke or an Earl, were they?
No.
Well, she probably thought both was a bit much. She had enough of those idiots who weren't even using titles they didn't have. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why Queen never played the Royal Variety performance. They thought there'd be a bit of a mix-up. And they might get the car home. They could have got in the car. Who's this for, Queen? Oh, and in you go. The Queen comes out. Where's my car? What do you mean?
Or Prince.
Or Prince.
Or,
Queen and Prince.
Let's not keep at it.
Just saying titles.
Dukes of Hazzard.
What about Beatrice and Eugenie, who I think travel in an open-top bus to make room for their faces? I like them. I don't know why I'm saying
nice.
that. No, I actually
They
like
haven't
them.
done anything wrong.
They haven't. I'd take that back.
Oh, we don't know that.
They haven't done anything publicly
Probably
wrong.
been covered up because they're royals.
Well, there was that
Not
thing.
saying they did anything
She
wrong.
had her student flat done, didn't she, on taxpayers' money? But to be fair, she was staying in a palace, so it probably would have got done anyway. One of them.
Yeah.
They seem nice girls to me. I take back what I said. I would kiss both of them without wincing. How many royals could you say that about? Yeah, I'll tell you what there was at the wedding. There was cupcakes.
We had cupcakes at our wedding.
Did you?
Instead of a cake, because we don't like fruitcake.
No, that is.
Yeah.
When was it that the cupcake made its big comeback? Because the cupcakes were a very minor part of the cake world, weren't they? Until quite recently.
I think it was Sex and the City made them popular.
I've never seen that. What happened
I
on
might be
there?
wrong.
Then?
I think there was a later series, or there was a shop or something, and they became like a fashionable, like so many things. From television becoming real.
Like when
real
Delia Smith, if she used
white wine.
I think white wine was quite popular. If she used goat
before
fat,
Delia, no one drank white wine.
didn't she use goat fat on something?
Goose fat?
Oh, I think it was goat fat.
Goat fat was sacrifice.
Yeah. Can you use goat fat? I know now you put doubt in my mind that it might have. I think it was goat fat. It come in a horn. So the animal's fat. The animal is born and develops a receptacle for its own fat
And then
that will fit into a horn rack. You know those horn racks that you get in kitchens.
Next to the spice rack.
Yeah, which are the fats of various animals contained within their own horns.
Yeah.
They hollow out the horns and put... take your stuffed owl that you've got, Laura. Don't you think that if you could get the head to screw off of that'd be a lovely biscuit tin?
It would be like those cow cookie things that moo if you try and get a biscuit out of them.
Yeah.
To remind you not to eat too many.
I don't
think
I don't think you'd get a hoot out of it, though.
Not now it's dead, no.
Well, I imagine the vocal cords go...
Botched. They've gone the way of Julie Andrews.
No, I imagine that they must be discarded in the taxidermy process.
Yeah, they get frozen out. Or...
It's a pity, because I think if you had a job generally stuffing owls, it'd be worth keeping the vocal cords.
But they don't actually stuff them. What they do is they create a full-scale model of the animal and then put the skin around it. So the stuffed is a bit of a red herring because they don't stuff the skin with sand. They make a model, so it's like part sculpture, part art, part weird men covering models with animal skin.
Okay. Did you say you've got a stuffed red herring?
No.
Okay.
I just threw that into the mix.
That's interesting. So when you see a big fish in a glass case... or is it aquarium? Is that what they call it? No, you know when you see what I would call it. Let me call it a stuffed fish, just for the purposes of this argument. They've opened the fish. They've built a fish.
They carefully remove the skin, and then they take tons of measurements of every, from the head to the side. They take loads of measurements of it, and they create a 3D model of that, like a sculpture. And then they carefully put the pelt or skin or hide back on. So it's very impressive.
Oh, I didn't. Laura's fascinating. Me and Laura once had a long conversation about the...
It's not a long one.
No.
Not as long as hair scrunchies.
This
is short.
This was...
It's putting years back on your life.
It was about the moral wrongs and rights of taxidermy and about whether it was all right to... Obviously, it wouldn't be right to kill an animal, but if you collected roadkill, would it be all right to construct an animal from various parts of other animals? And we never really got to the bottom. I think we thought if it was...
It would be all right if it was a private hobby.
Yeah. It would be all right if it was the same animal.
Yeah.
But you don't want a badger with, one horse leg.
I do.
I do.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Well, I've got one.
What about four
As it turns out, I didn't just pluck that out of the air. I've got one.
Same discussion that amateur taxidermy. You can't really be an amateur taxidermy. It's a skill you have to be very good at, or not do it at all, because you don't want to see amateur taxidermy.
Well, now you've told me the method, I have an idea that I think I could be an amateur taxidermy.
You thought it would be stuff so that it would leak.
Yeah, I thought the stuffing would be difficult, but if you just have to build a model and then put the skin on it, what I'm thinking of doing, say if in my house I decided I wanted a stuffed Alsatian, what I would do is go out, I'd case the local area until I found 2 local Alsatians, one slightly larger than the other. What I'd do is I'd kill them both, and then I'd cover the smaller one in the skin of the other.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. In fact, what I might do is I might not kill the smaller one.
I might freeze it for later.
No, I might leave it alive, but cover it, but stitch the other one's pelt over it and their head. So the dead one is, to all intents and purposes, still knocking around the air, and people are saying, Where's my Alsatian gone? Not knowing that it's inside the other Alsatian. What a prank!
Be like a Russian Alsatians.
Yeah.
Or a wolf in wolf's clothing.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have the time to carry this out. But if there was say cats, and there's more cats than Alsatians generally. Say if you could get
you need a team of people to help.
Yeah, if you got a dozen
we've got
cats,
the absolute listeners. I'm sure we'll have pictures by next week of this.
Well, what we'll do on the website, we can put size categories, and we can get cats over a range, of sizes. Starting with a kitten, and then a bigger cat. We could have a cat with 12 cats inside it.
Well, you start with a fly, and then a spider, and then a bird.
Yeah, I'd be less happy with that. I like the idea of having a kitten at the base, at the core of this cat structure, because the kitten would grow. It would, as it grows,
it would grow into its skin, wouldn't it?
Well, what it would do, it'd have to shed its inner skins. So when cats go
hairball
and a hairball, what there'd be a big
Pelt
cat
ball.
skin. A cat skin would come out. And man, imagine the consternation of the local children when that happened. When a cat coughed up an empty cat. Anyway, I think that's enough of that, isn't it? I think we've gone too far. We have an email, don't we?
Please don't do that. Please don't. We were just joking.
What?
please don't.
Oh no, don't do it. No, if you're listening to that.
Oh no, it's too late. We just had one delivered.
Oh
no.
Well, that's not bad though. What they've got mixed up, they've tried to get the Alsatian inside a cat. And
the laws of physics have forbidden it.
The whole hind legs are out.
They rushed it.
Yeah, that's it. To be fair though, they did turn that around pretty quick.
It's good. Held together with hairbands, I think, or are they scrunchies?
Let's not go back. The last weekend we had a we had a hairband. Yeah, keep headbutting that microphone. Stop it. That's not our equipment. Do we have an email?
We do have an email.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
From Kelly.
I feel we need a voice from the external world.
Kelly Leeson.
Kelly.
Jelly J.
Does anybody here know Kelly? K-E-W-Y. Anybody here know Kelly? Kelly from the Isle of Man. Is she from the Isle of Man?
She doesn't say.
Oh, well, it could be her.
She says it's called Shenanigans and Dictator Cats. That musical.
Just by Julie Andrews and her daughter.
Julie Andrews and her daughter. Dear Frank, Emily... I'll start again.
No, I like that opening. It was better. I find words sometimes they're limiting. Why not just make noises and let people put their own interpretations on it?
Dear Frank, Gareth and Emily, or is it Laura Solon this week? It is.
Oh, they've planned ahead, these people.
Morning all. I always think of things to write into you about after the fact, such as being famous at school.
Oh yeah, that was one of our phone-ins one week.
Do you think Kelly's texting. American? After the fact is an American phrase.
It could be R. Kelly. I hadn't thought of that. And also, he's complaining about the fact that he's missed previous phone-ins. He's basically saying, if I could turn back the hands of time. It is R. Kelly. This is a bit of a moment.
And he's talking about flying.
He's talking about being famous
and
as well.
Flying.
He's talking about, what, flying?
Well,
you're reading ahead of me. I don't even know that. You don't spoil it for me.
That's before the fact. In brackets, her being famous at school. I'm going to go with it. Still stick with it to her. I don't.
Okay, you don't think it is R. Kelly?
Not
just shoot me down. Why don't you?
I flew across the school field when the hurricane picked me up and threw me up in the air in 1987.
I flew across the school field.
Can that be true?
It could be if they live in Kansas or somewhere with. That's tornadoes. But hurricanes, that's why I think it might be American, because hurricanes are very big things over there. They're not so big over here.
No, but 1987 was the year of
I thought it was 1989.
What year did this happen?
1987.
I think the great storm of where Gordon Kay got the plank in his head was 88 or 89.
Oh, yeah, poor Gordon Kay from a lower low.
René Artois.
He was walking past an enormous billboard, a big advert on it, and during those high winds, a piece of the advert, like a big piece of wood off the big advert, hit him on the head, and I think a nail went into his head. So the wood didn't just hit him on the head; it stayed on his head. So at least when they turned up, they knew what had happened because it was still there. Who says that no publicity is bad publicity? But yes, but this isn't Gordon Kay, is it? This is.
No, I don't
so
think
she was blown across. I think it could happen. You do get rogue ghosts. Yeah. What else does Kelly have to say? I'm liking Kelly though. She's adventurous.
Also, she has an allegation to make. She says in the Halifax ads, where the supposedly real Halifax employees, the one
like
with
the Radio Halifax thing and all that.
Yeah, and Howard, who gives you extra.
Howard's not in it anymore, is he?
Is he not?
No, I think Howard's no.
Howard's End.
Indeed.
Happened. They aren't, and I have proof. So she says they're not real Halifax employees. I was rewatching...
No, I think they are. Isn't that the whole point of those adverts, that they're actual members of staff?
Well, she's got proof.
Yeah, well, she says, I was rewatching Prime Suspect 6 and thought
Who rewatches that?
Fans of Helen Mirren.
You know the end, yeah?
No, you probably can't remember, because there's so many of them, you forget.
Well, there's only 6 gone to...
I thought there were about 9.
It's only 16. Maybe there's more. Just carry on.
And thought she recognised an actor playing a homeless man and thought he looked familiar in Prime Suspect 6. I did some research and found that he is the man on the most annoying Halifax advert, the Isa Baby one. His name is Finlay Robertson and he has been in loads of stuff.
So he is an actor? This is quite a serious allegation. Can I say that we distance ourselves from this allegation?
She says, or maybe I'm wrong in the acting career.
Go and see R. Kelly if you've got any. Well, R. Kelly's had worse allegations to cope with, let's face it. Let's not go into that. He did try to turn back the hands of time.
Wow. Was that ever proven? Well, it was, wasn't it?
I don't know. Let's just say...
Leave it alone.
We don't think so. I like him. Actually, I don't like him much. I think his music's rubbish. But, you know, he's good enough to email him. We can show him a bit of respect. Well, that's a shock. Now she comes to mention, I think I did see Howard in a Bergman's The Seventh Seal.
Howard's in Police Academy 3.
Is he?
Yeah.
Ah, well, there you go. Then the whole thing is bogus.
And she next says,
Lots
of points.
It's a three-parter.
I understand why this next subject may be something you decide not to read out, as it could prove controversial.
Oh, dear.
Although it is very funny.
Is it controversial?
Oh, it's not too bad.
Oh, OK.
Have a look at this website, catsthatlooklikehitler.com. It made me laugh so much. Is that wrong of me?
Yes, I've seen this website, actually.
Yeah, I have as well.
It's pictures of, cats that look like Hitler.
Yeah.
I've started one. It's dictators that look like cats. Don't know if you've seen that. So obviously there's Meow Zedong.
That's good.
He's on there. Poor Pot.
But that's...
Poor.
No, but they've taken the names. They've taken because they're cat-like.
Pun-like dictators.
They've taken the name.
Yeah.
Pussolini, he's on there. Yeah, but they all look feline as well.
Mussolini was always bringing in Stalin. Caught
Yeah, I hate it when he did that. He tortured that poor thing. So, yeah, I've seen that website, and it is funny, because it's cats, basically, with... Well, some of them have just got little black moustaches, as you expect on a Hitler lookalike thing, but some of them actually have that swept-across hair thing.
That's the best ones. The ones that have the hair to match, that's my favourite.
I have to say, I'm suspicious. I am a little bit suspicious about those. In that I think maybe they've been... There's an element of stars in their eyes about them.
Tonight, I'm going to be... Well, it's not their choice, is it? It's the owner's choice.
Yes, I think that if people who want to get on that website, they get the cat and say, come here, you, and they make it look like Hitler. I did it with a cat I had. I mean, this was post after he'd shot and burnt himself in the bunker. I made my cat look like that. I meant to do it outside, obviously. I would have choked. And, it wasn't even printed after all that.
What's the internet for? If you can't put up pictures like that.
If you can't put what is essentially a charcoal pet. I don't know, it's...
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.